it or not, we're all on the soul path. From the time we're born until the time we depart. Sometimes we need to share things, and sometimes we need to acquire knowledge. This is a channel where you can do both. If there's something that you don't like, keep scrolling. I guarantee you that you will find something that adds value to your life. Take a listen.
This might be a really good type of relationship where we can really build and create something. But see, the thing is, it's not about the two of you building together. It's about him or she, whoever the narcissist is. It's about them establishing themselves to such a degree and depleting everything that you have. They take everything and leave you with nothing until once you get to such a point where you can't recover. They leave you in the dust, and they go find them a new prey. Yes. Well, today's topic that I would love for us to talk about is the importance of being aware of narcissistic characteristics that are in men and in women. And how can we recognize that we may accidentally get in a situation because of our love and our compassion, wanting to help others, being concerned about others. We're powerful givers. We want to help, and we want to make a difference in somebody else's life. And narcissists are truly drawn to those type of people. Now, one of the things that I have learned to recognize is that whenever you come in contact with a masculine vibrational energy, because it could be a butch, it could be or a man. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's transgender. And when they come to you with this sad story, oh my God, my life has been so miserable and horrible, and I've been mistreated, and nobody loved me, and they dug me out, and all that stuff. That's the number one sign that that person is a narcissist, and they use those stories to get in there with you like a little snake in your pocket, and here you are, you rubbing a little snake, and you loving on the snake, and next thing you know, that snake get big and start strangling you. And you're like, well, little snake, why did you do this to me? I just loved you and fed you and took care of you, but the snake said, well, you knew all along that I was a snake. At some point in time, I was going to get you. And I learned that because I remember I was having this encounter with this amazing man. Oh my goodness. He just smelled so good and so wonderful. I just wanted to be with him. And I was like, oh my God, what is it about him that just draws me so strong to him? And now, as it's been a few years down the road, I realized it was the cologne. And that's another thing that narcissists use. They love to always look good. They always smell good. They always got themselves looking amazing. They may not have spent not 1 cent on what they look like and how good they smell. Some other woman already had got them all together, and here you come along and you think, oh man, this man he's got himself together and he's tight. Oh, why you don't have anything? They want to sit there and they dog you out, but as they know that things are getting closer to where they are able to extract that from you, they become very nice and very kind and very sweet, and boy, they're like the best person that you ever known in your whole entire life. And then they sit there and give you this sad story. Oh, my child needs help with this, or I need some help. Can you just help me out? Just help me out. And then next thing you know, because you have built such a relationship with this person, and then they entangle themselves with you sexually too. And then they use that sex magic thing on you, have your head all messed up, and you're all lost. And then you're looking at the world through rose-colored glasses, thinking that everything is all good and wonderful, and y'all gonna have a great relationship. And next thing you know, as you start looking at what's happening to you, you're not shining like you were before. You all of a sudden now you're waking up all miserable because you're like, well, I should be able to save some kind of money, right? I should be able to save $100. Can I save $50? Can I save $25? Can I save $10? Can I save $5? No, they want your ass broke. and every single time, doesn't it?
Speaking of oils,
okay.
What oil would you suggest for somebody that they would need to anoint themselves with to get courage, to get get on down, get out of the situation?
I would say you would want to use release. You need trauma light because you've been traumatized to the whole thing. You need freedom oil. And then also you need magnify your purpose, highest potential. They help you rise. There's an oil called Rise Above. It helps you rise above the circumstance. So that way you can actually see it for what it is. And then you can set yourself free to go on and create what you really want. Because your life is going to continue to get better and better. After my first initial experience with the first narcissist, which was my first husband, and I tell you what, I didn't have a term for him. I just knew I was going through some challenging situations I couldn't quite put my finger on. And so it took a couple years. But then after that, yeah, I tell you what, that's what helps. You got to switch your vibrational energy from being in that place of allowing yourself to be victimized. Because what happens, the narcissist is already feeling so he's a victim, and so he mirrors upon you about his victimization. And because he's mirroring and he victimizes you and makes you feel like you're being belittled. So, but the oils, if you diffusing, you get your nice little diffuser, put them in, so you're breathing them in. You put them on your heart, you put them on your emotional centers, you put on your forehead, you breathe, release, and you let all that go. Yeah, when in this place, you want to begin to have the joy oil, abundance. There's key oils that you want to use that will help you rise up and move forward. So that way you don't find yourself being sucked back in it, because they're going to miss you, and then they try to play this little role like, they're going to do better, but they never do better. It's worse than what it was before. And so it took a couple years, but then after that, yeah, I tell you what, that's what helps. You got to switch your vibrational energy from being in that place of allowing yourself to be victimized. Because what happens, the narcissist is already feeling so he's a victim, and so he mirrors upon you about his victimization. And because he's mirroring, and he victimizes you and makes you feel like you're being belittled. So, but the oils, if you diffuse it, you get your nice little diffuser, put them in, so you're breathing them in. You put them on your heart, you put on your emotional centers, you put on your forehead, you breathe, release, and you let all that go. When in this place, you want to begin to have the joy oil, abundance. There's key oils that you want to use that will help you rise up and move forward. So that way you don't find yourself being sucked back in it, because they're going to miss you, and then they try to play this little role like, they're going to do better, but they never do better. It's worse than what it was before. Now, one of the things I learned that really helped him, like if I use loyalty, that loyalty oil helps shave off of some of that bad behavior. But then you still have some of the other stuff that you got to deal with too. So it's just best to go ahead and just say, hey, I'm done with the whole situation, and move forward where you can create what you want to live out. Because you will always have people who are going to come beside you and be a help and a blessing.
And an encouragement.
Yeah, I remember when I was encountering those type of attributes, and I had to cry out and say, Father, what in the world is this? And it just dropped my spirit. Narcissism. I'm like, narcissism? What is narcissism? And I started doing all kinds of research. I was just eating it up. Any kind of way I can learn about
narcissists.
I think sometimes what it is, we're so busy wanting to heal ourselves that we look for others that we want to heal. So simultaneously, what happens as we're focusing on trying to help that person to conquer certain things on the inside, you are conquering certain things inside yourself too. And then once you know that you're only able to bring them up to a certain point, you too have come to a certain point of growth in that situation.
Yes.
And then it's time for you to sever. And it's okay because now it's time for somebody else to come in and take over where you left off to help them go on to the next stage of their growth. That's one of the things I've learned too. Never to take offense to when a man or whoever, a woman, if they decide that, okay, our friendship, our connection has come to a certain point. Now it's time for someone new to come along, because then they're able to help them in a way that I could never help. Now, and I used to take an offense to that. I used to get really hurt and get really upset. I'm like, well, how is it that I'm going to prepare you? We're working together to create something for us, and then you're going to go off with some other woman after all that we just gone through, and you're just going to throw me away like that. And I had to take a step back and say, you know what? Maybe, my season with this particular person has just actually truly come to an end. And it's okay. And to give myself permission to grieve over that.
Yeah.
To be sad for a time. Because that's normal. And then after that, to knock the dust off my feet and say, okay, now it's time for me to get moving. I got to get back into regular life now. And begin to have fun, find fun things to do. Begin to surround myself with like people and realize that, I don't always have to fill my life with people. There are other things I need to be focusing on, like working with my Tibetan bowls or different instruments, or just meditating and doing some creative drawing, sacred geometric drawing, and writing out my vision. Time for me to start doing some more traveling. Yeah.
You're always on the plane somewhere.
Yeah, and that's one of the wonderful things about being an international artist. It made me realize that, once you're out here like this, then for you to go off and go somewhere else is simple. You just go and do what you gotta do. You come back and you go back out. But yeah, I would say as you're growing and understanding more about yourself, you come to a place of realizing that you're never in a place where you have to fill your life with people. There are so many things that you yourself need to do to help yourself to continue to grow, like use your Tibetan bowls, or doing some sacred geometric drawing, or creating your sacred spaces. Working with your crystals and creating a beautiful crystal garden where you can feel the energies talking to you. And, there's so much more to life than what we can ever imagine or think. And we limit ourselves because of the desire of wanting to have someone in our space like that, Yeah. And then this, we're constantly being dictated by this persona that likes to dictate and control everything. And I had to look at that. I'm like, why have I chose? Why did I choose to go from being free to being trapped like a little bunny rabbit? And little spoon-fed, little increments of things. It's because of that sense of comfort I felt like having my mom and dad telling me what to do. And that's why I chose to put myself in that spot again. And, there had been a season in my life where I got used to not having nothing. So I allowed an entity to take everything from me and bring me into a place where I had to hit rock bottom in that situation. So that way, as I began to do the climb up, and I'm so grateful for that rock bottom experience, because it helped open up other doorways of creativity in my mind to create more of what I want, which if I had hit rock bottom, I would have never explored those options before. But because I was put in a spot where I had no choice, and I had to figure out a way to get out of it.
Well, Joy, you give a person that is stuck in that situation hope. And I thank you for being so transparent about it.
Thank you so much for having me on and sharing my story of my experience with that narcissistic personality.
Now we're going to toss all of those bad habits, all of those bad interactions and encounters, and anything that leads us to experience narcissism at an up close